What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Motorfest video. This one, I have two very important changes that I think IVT needs to look into in order to make Motorfest a very good game long term. These are crucial to the future of Motorfest. Let's go. All right, so if you're new to Motorfest, this might not be the video for you. This is more intended for the people who have been grinding the game sort of since it's come out, or if you've been grinding it recently and you've got lots of money and spare parts and legend points, you know exactly what I'm getting at. There are two changes that we need to make. Jesus, everybody is pushing like crazy, bro. There are two changes. I'm trying to do this during a grand race and I don't know if this is going to work out or not. There are two changes that we need to make in Motorfest, and they're kind of big changes. They're gonna sound small, but in scope, in terms of, I landed on him. In scope, in terms of development, I think it's going to be difficult, and I'm not sure that IVT is gonna wanna do this. But the first one is to completely rework the legend points system. Now, what do I mean by that? You actually earn legend points every single month by simply playing the game. As long as you're completing your main stage, at least one of those categories, you're going to earn legend points. Like if you're just doing what I'm doing right here, which is just grand racing forever, you just keep grand racing every single month, you're gonna have a bunch of legend points that stack up. And once you have every single point, I landed on him again. And once you have every single point in your legend points all applied, basically, then you just earn a bunch of excess legendary points, which you have a bank for. You have 1,000 legend points that you can bank. For what reason specifically? I really don't know why you have that if you can't use them. In the crew too, you can actually use your excess icon points in the rich category, for example, and earn a bunch more money for simply just playing the game more. So I feel like they need to add something like that into Motorfest, but here's how I would change it. I would completely revamp the system. Right now you have 3 different categories for your legend points. I want them to add a 4th category and take the top 4 legend point affixes, let's call them, and move them into this 4th category, and we're going to call that category rewards. So in the rewards category, you should have rich, legend, goldfinger, and lucky, and you should be able to put as many points as you want to put into those categories. But under my system, you wouldn't be able to do that until you actually have max points applied in all of the other categories in the entire legend point system. So you need to have everything else all the way maxed out. Then it unlocks the ability to put all of the legend points that you earn after that into those 4 bonuses. This is a huge change, and I think it'll make the quality of life for players who play a lot really just that much better. We should be able to earn as many bucks as we want in the events as long as we're playing the events. I think that's completely fair. What's nice about this system is that if they did it this way, they wouldn't be eliminating the grind completely. For players who still want to be able to grind for money and parts, they can. They don't have to apply those. And for players who don't necessarily want to grind, they actually still have to grind, because you have to get all of your legend points maxed out in every other category before you have the ability to just simply earn a bunch of money. Now, the second change that I really hope they choose to make is a revamp of the spare parts system. I really hate that the spare parts just feel completely useless at this point. I have millions of them and I don't know what to do with them. In fact, I really can't do anything with them. They're just sitting there. I've already affixed the parts that I need, and I don't really have a reason to have those. There's just a bunch of them that are just gonna sit there. So here's what I would prefer instead as we enter the drift section, and watch me fail this. I'm in front now. If I can complete this while filming this video, I'm gonna be super pumped. We've got a nice little lead. Let's concentrate, but also let's keep let's keep delivering the video. All right. Anyways, what I want for the spare parts is a complete store. In that store, I want really cheap vanities, because I'm a realist. I don't think they're going to give us awesome vanities in there. And if they did, they would charge us, 20 million spare parts for it, which is, I guess, maybe would be fair. Can I get control of the car, please? We don't want to lose this at the end here. All right. Anyways, in this spare parts store, you could spend your spare parts on various things. And the thing that I would want the most in there is not actually vanities. It is the ability to buy certain legendary parts. Now, if you've been grinding the game since the beginning like me, likely you have a lot of the parts that you need. But there might be a category or two, like say Demolition Royale, Monster, Drag Racing, something like that, where you just don't have all the parts you need. And in that case, you need somewhere to get it without having to grind a lot, particularly Drag Racing. If you're missing a Drag Race part at this time, you are completely effed, because the grind to get it is crazy now. It used to be a lot easier in the beginning of the game. You could actually grind the feats and get a bunch of parts within, you know, a short amount of time. So it's just not easy anymore to get drag parts. And I would rather, instead of them adding drag events, because the drag events are just boring and terrible, I would rather them add a spare parts store. I actually got the dub doing this video. That's amazing. I was not paying attention at all. I was driving on autopilot, trying to remember all of my bullet points, looking at my notes. Anyways, the spare parts store would be so cool. I would love to spend my spare parts on specific session lost and sent back to free drive. I didn't get my rewards for winning. All right. Anyways, the goal of that spare parts store would be to allow players to spend spare parts on a variety of things. And I would include basic vanities, like the ones that they only charge $1 for, like basic nitros and basic underglows. Those types of things, they're just like, you know, one color. They're not like flashy or, you know, shaped in any way. They're not cool. They're just regular vanities. I think there's a lot of players out there who just don't have the money to spend on vanities, and they don't necessarily like the ones that you've got in the summit rewards and in the custom show. This type of store would allow people to buy those $1 vanities with, you know, let's make it a lot of spare parts if you want, but basically you got to have the ability to, you know, use that currency for something, and I think this is the best way to do it. But vanities, like I said, are not the focus here. For me, the focus would be specific legendary parts. Either they could sell a bundle of legendary parts for, let's say, you know, 5 million spare parts. You could buy a complete legendary bundle, and that would be random affix rolls. Or you could buy specific parts, say that you're missing for, like, let's say 1 million spare parts. You can buy this specific nitrochemist part, and then the affixes are random, and then you can just re-roll those yourself using spare parts again. I just think there needs to be some way of using those parts, and a parts store would be phenomenal. And like I said, you could throw in the vanities, because I think that would really help a lot of people. It would just make the community a little bit happier about the vanities. In this game, vanities are expensive, and not everybody has the money to spend on those, so it just kind of spreads around the love. And it doesn't hurt IVT too much, because we're talking about the dollar vanities, the really cheap, you know, the vanities that just people don't have the money to spend, but they would like to have a like standard blue underglow. Anyways, these are two very important changes for the future of Motorfest, and I hope that IVT or the crew or Ubisoft, somebody sees this video. If you have the ability to share it with somebody, please do. I want to see these types of changes going forward. They're quality of life, they're huge. They actually allow the game to have a longer life cycle as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you have any ideas on how you can improve Motorfest going forward, I think you should leave them in the comments down below. What's the most requested thing that you want to see in the game? All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.